And we're back. Thanks again for tuning into the WCS European Season 3 Championship. There's that audience. All right. Hopefully you guys can hear them. Otherwise, I'm just kind of nodding absently, but I think we're doing okay. Very good. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what just happened. Okay, so we had that bottom four, duke it out, find out that fifth seed. It is going to be Duck Duck. Grubby, you're an expert. I just kind of want to know your overall feeling about Duck Duck coming out ahead of all these guys.
Yeah, I think, to put it crudely, I think he was just overall the best player from these four, and it's a very deserved victory. And it's a good thing to see the deserving player to go through. All of them very good, and on their best day, all of them can beat each other. But overall, right now, shape-wise, all things considering, I think Duck Duck deserved it, and he played well.
Yeah, I just have to echo your sentiments. It's nice to see the previous season's champion still do very well. I mean, it's a little bit funny looking at this because it's the fifth seed, so people are like, that's not that amazing. It really is. When you look at these top 8 players and who they overcame to get here, being fifth, getting that seed to Toronto, winning a lot of money and WCS points, that's a big deal. And I think Duck Duck keeping his calm, cool, and collected nature while doing that is a pretty amazing feat. So he will be your fifth seed. We're going to see him in Toronto. He's a dangerous player too. I mean, what do you? Let's ask this before we get into that top bracket. What do you like his chances over in Toronto? I mean, I'm not gonna pretend like we're not. Well, he's a favorite to win. Probably not. But do you think he's a threat? I mean, what do you give him?
It's hard to say. It's almost like we're getting into a bit of a region of Dragon Ball Z, where there's like a guy beats a guy beats a guy, and all the power levels, they keep exceeding each other. Duck Duck's power level right now is... Over 9,000! Yes! Over 9,000. But it can go even higher than that. It can go over 9,000. I mean, over 9,000.
I was gonna say, Grubby, I'm really bad. Okay, never mind. All right.
Yeah, and so when you compare Duck Duck to the people that qualify for the season finals, maybe he is the middle of the bunch.
What I like about him, and I think what makes it exciting for that finals, is I don't look at him and say, top 3, probably. I think more along the lines of how dangerous he is on a match-by-match. I mean, he could beat any Protoss.
Who does he take out?
Exactly.
Right,
and
yes.
While I do think his PVT would probably be the more scary matchup for him, we've seen him beat really good Terran players as well. So I think the fun thing about Duck Duck is that he's gained some fans here, but I also think he's a threat, and that should be pretty exciting to watch. So let's talk about the big names here now. We do have 4 players that have distinguished themselves. They've done very well. You can see right there, it's going to be our first match of the evening for this top bracket, MMA versus VortiX. And then, of course, at the bottom, the PvP that I hope lives up to the talk. It's MC versus Genius.
Yes, very nice matchups coming here. Another PvP. A lot of the PvPs at this weekend, not quite that close.
I agree. They weren't great.
Yeah, you knew what I was going to say.
Yeah.
No really good TVCs yet either. There's only one Terran, and it was not that close either. This match could redeem this matchup for people who have only ever watched StarCraft 2 at the WCS Europe round of 8 so far. MMA VortiX.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, we've got VortiX as the lone non-Korean up there, trying to give Europe a last stand, if you will. But you touched on something that's been kind of interesting this weekend. The matches haven't been terribly close. I mean, Targa Duck Duck was a pretty darn close one.
Yeah.
And this oftentimes people forget. This happens when you get down to the final 8 because guys build up these strategies weeks going in. There's so much on the line.
Bye, Stardust.
And a lot of times that polarizes the results. One guy prepared the right idea or strategy and then executed it without being too flustered. The other guy crumbled. But with this final 4, these are, when I look at these players, we got VortiX, who I think is capable of winning a tournament, just hasn't quite done it yet.
Yeah.
We've got MMA, MC, and of course his opponent. Why am I blanking on this?
Genius.
Yeah, okay. The guy I picked to win the whole freaking thing. Anyways, all 3 of those guys have won tournaments, and there's a reason why they're in this top 4. And I'm excited to see if that can result in really close matches.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with your sentiments, and I also hope that there will not be any more crumbling now that we've gotten to this semi-final stage, because if all the first 4 quarterfinals were not close and all of the winners advanced, then does that mean, logically, maybe, that now it will not be such a wipeout?
All right, now that we've cursed it, let's do the opposite. It's probably going to be a blowout. It's going to totally suck.
Great.
All
Wonderful.
right, good.
Thank you, Jeff.
Which one's it going to be, Universe? Ball's in your court.
You have to pick one now, Universe.
All right, so we've prepared videos for these guys. Let's get to know them a little bit better. First up is VortiX.
Well, I grew up in a pretty big town of Barcelona, which is called Hospitalet de Llobregat. I think it's the biggest town in Spain. Well, I'm both Spanish and Catalan. Like, there's some Catalan people that they say they are not Spanish, but want it or not, you are Spanish. And I myself, I really like Spanish culture, and I identify myself as Spanish. So, well, my favorite club, despite many people thinking it would be normal to be a Football Club Barcelona fan, I'm a Real Madrid fan because my father was a fan, my grandfather too. Of course, you are always like a bit in school, especially everyone is like, oh, a Real Madrid fan, but no, it's okay.
All right. That is VortiX. VortiX got a few fans here. Again, he's got to stem the tide. He's got to hold it back. We'll see if he can do it. His next opponent is going to be the sole Terran in the top 8 for the last 2 seasons. This guy is hunting that championship. It is MMA.
어렸을 때 일단 운동이랑 게임을 두 가지를 굉장히 좋아했고, 그리고 친형이 있었는데 친형이 나보다 게임을 좋아하는 걸 넘어서 약간 중독이 있었어. 그래서 서로 컴퓨터에 대해서 맨날 싸웠는데 누가 한다 해서 형이 너무 얄미워가지고 컴퓨터를 할 때 선을 뽑은 적이 있어. 그래가지고 엄청나게 맞은 기억이 있어, 어렸을 때. 부모님한테 많이 보탬이 되고 싶었고, 우승하고 이제 팀도 좋은 팀 찾으면서 경제적으로 부모님한테 많이 지원을 내가 많이 드렸어. 그래서 그 부분은 굉장히 뿌듯하고, 부모님도 이제 게이머로 성공해서 많이 자랑스럽게 생각하면서, 옛날에는 게임한다고 막 어디 나가면은 얘기 안 하고 다녔는데 이제는 막 자랑하고 다니실 그런 아들이 돼버렸어. 어렸을 때는 축구 선수가 하고 싶었어. 그리고 고등학교 선수에는 그 프라이드 챔피언이 되고 싶었고 왜냐면은 내가 너무 좋아하고, 그 일요일마다 공차는 클럽이 있는데 진짜 일요일만 엄청나게 기다리면서 일요일이 거의 낙이야.
I think MMA is a very kind person, and he always practices a lot and tries to do his best. Of course, I try to cheer him up, and I also always try to see the games, and so I can tell him actually what he did wrong, what he didn't see, for example. It's pretty hard for Koreans to play in a foreign team, especially without a translator or a Korean manager who speaks Korean. It's really hard because the most problems occur because they can't really communicate with the management. At the moment, he's really motivated to play all the tournaments, to win it all. So I really think he is one of the favorites to take WCS Europe and also at Anaheim BlizzCon.
Wonderful little closer look at MMA. Those videos have been borderline tearjerker, but then I like the part where he says, my parents weren't so much for it, but then I gave them a bunch of money, and now they like that I'm a pro gamer. I hope you guys are paying attention. That's one of the ways to get your parents on board. Let's just break this series down a little bit. You're the expert. I'm gonna put this out there. VortiX is a household StarCraft 2 name. He is by no means some kind of gigantic underdog, but speaking globally here, I think MMA is the favorite. What are the things VortiX has to do to beat MMA to win this series?
Honestly, I got no clue, but I know that he can do it. I know that he knows a lot better how to do it than me. So I think the opinions from the insiders, the professionals and so on are very divided on this match. There's people with inside info, inside practice info that believe MMA will win, and there's other people that believe VortiX will win. For me, I'm really not quite sure, and I don't know how to do it. But if there's someone who can do it, maybe it's VortiX.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, you're absolutely right. We've been asking around about this. This has been, again, one of those matches that people are really anticipating as really exciting, kind of like Nurchio versus MMA the day before. And I feel like when you look at the series the day before, you look at MMA, and you want to talk about his multitasking, his aggression, and certainly we saw some of that. But for me, the highlight from that previous series was his lockdown defense. I mean, Nurchio went into that saying, I'm going to beat you before we get to that late game. And in 3 games consecutively, it looked like there was not a single chance. So with that series at the back of their mind, we're going to have to see what he has in store for MMA because it's going to be tough.
Yes, it's going to be tough for both players, I think.
All right, should be a good series. Hopefully it will. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to the commentators now. It's Apollo and Caleres.
Thanks very much, guys. All right, this is where it begins. The road to the finals here for the championship of WCS Europe. And I couldn't have it. I wouldn't have it any other way. MMA versus VortiX.
This is arguably the most anticipated match of the bracket, basically. Everybody looked at it and said, well, you know, if MMA beats Nurchio and VortiX goes through stock, we could have this matchup. And it is going to be a good one. MMA is a massive fan favorite and has been since the beginning of time. He was really the Terran player in 2011 to look up to alongside with MVP. Some even said at one point he was even better than that. Yep. And then on the other hand, we have VortiX, who's a player who for a lot of his beginning in StarCraft 2 was overshadowed by his brother Lucifron. But in the last year or so, has started to breach away from that and is now, some may say, stronger than him, better than him, faster, and this is now going to come to head. VortiX has played so many Zerg versus Terrans.
Oh, yeah.
So many, especially against his brother at these international tournaments. And that's just an excellent, thing to aid him in the right direction here. But on the other hand, MMA is known for his Terran versus Zerg. He's known for crushing you. He's known for being faster than you and being able to drop you in multiple locations. And then Jeff said, even the things that we wouldn't think that MMA was good at. His defense yesterday against Nurchio was impeccable.
Stellar, absolutely stellar. And now, going up against VortiX, we'll see what MMA has in store for us. Polar Knight and Whirlwind go away here. But as you said, VortiX, he's been playing a lot of Terrans as of late in the WCS system alone. He's at like 10 series won and 1 series lost. But none of those have been of the caliber of MMA.
These two players have won and lost the exact same amount of games. Throughout the entire of Season 3 have dropped a single map. One map. They won 2 games in Group Stage 1, and in the round of 16, 2 more games, and then of course went through the quarterfinals. 5 best of 3s, well, 4 best of 3s, 1 best of 5, with a single map lost. It's dominance. It's absolutely dominant performances from both sides. And as Grubby said, does that now mean that this is not meant to be that close because these two players are so good?
These two players, this could arguably have been the finals, but they meet here now in the semis, and here we have VortiX.
Oh, look at that win rate.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. The last 2 victims of him were No Name in the round of 32, Thorzane in the round of 16.
And they were not close.
No.
Not even close.
Not at all. You guys were saying that, people just did not look on VortiX's level during the group stages. Not at all.
VortiX is, as he's described himself, impatient and aggressive. He showed that versus Thorzane. 2 early attacks, 2 early wins. But in the round of 32 against No Name, there was a couple that went longer. And he took it long and killed in the later stages. He is an excellent Zerg player. Arguably the best Zerg in Europe at this point since Stefano's retirement. And now a player with a lot of pressure, simply because his heart and his goal is at BlizzCon. He wants to go there. Obviously, he's going to the season finals. But between the position of finishing in 4th place, where he could be if he loses this, to 1st place in the Europe Premier League, there is an extra 750 points for grabs between 4th and 1st place. That extra 750 is so important, especially because the amount of good players that are going to the Season 3 finals. And we don't know if MMA, can do it there. Maybe something goes wrong. Maybe his condition's bad. Yeah. But right now he's playing good. Likewise is VortiX. It's all to play for, and it's not just the points. It's, of course, the prize money as well. Currently, $7,000 if you lose this game. You win it, you go to the finals, minimum 12,000.
Big step up.
You win the entire thing, you have 20.
Big steps up there. And our first map will be Belshire Vestige between these two players. Countdown has actually already begun for this first game. And this, for me, it's not just for people out there. This, for me, is my most anticipated series of the entire season, all season long. Through the round of 32, for the round of 16, round of 8. We are now in the semi-finals to find out which of these two players will advance on to the grand final.
Yeah, man, we've had so many close games. Well, sorry, excuse me. We had so many one-sided games. We've seen dominant performances, but now it's time for the two best performing players this season to go head-to-head in our first semi-final.
Oh boy, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, our red Zerg, representing Mouse Sports as well as Spain. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for VortiX.
A lot of support for him, the last non-Korean in this tournament now.
And up to the top left-hand corner, our blue Terran, representing Acer as well as Korea. Give it up for MMA. A lot of support for MMA as well.
And remember, so far, VortiX is the only non-Korean to put his foot through the doors of the Season 3 finals so far.
Yes.
Of course, Korea's seen dominated by Koreans.
He might be the only one.
He might be the only one. He might be the entire only one to play there. Everyone else would be Koreans. There's still an off chance that VortiX may make it to BlizzCon as well. With an extra 750 points if he was to win this season, he actually puts himself in the top 16, which is very nice.
Yes.
And then, of course, if he's able to win this season and go to the Season 3 finals and maybe win a game or two, he could just establish himself as a top 16 BlizzCon player.
And if he were able to make it to BlizzCon, I mean, there's
that's massive.
It's not only huge. There's the steps forwards for VortiX to start laying claim to best foreigner. Putting my hands up, best foreigner. If Naniwa can't continue this run, obviously Naniwa I feel still kind of stays there, maybe along with Scarlet as well. But VortiX is now verging into that if he's able to bring out some good performances.
And is a part-time player as well, bear in mind. But we do have the two openings here. We've got Hatchery first into Spawner Pool, then Gas by VortiX, who is going to try and get that Zergling speed early, or save his Gas for Roaches, the two options he has to choose from. Whereas MMA has opened up with a Reaper expand. So he will be going over to 2 Reapers, getting his expansion down, and then following up with just a regular play. Factories are definite. From there, anything can change.
I love the option for the Reaper here in the first game. Don't want to be doing anything too wild, out of the ordinary. Just get that Reaper in, just have a look around at what your opponent's up to. And VortiX is a guy that in this matchup, he's not afraid to just say, right, middle of the road, this is going to be the macro game for the first game in the series. He can just go straight out of the gates flying. So MMA needs to know if something like that's coming.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And the Reaper will go inside. 6 Zerglings, a choice here by VortiX. Could have gone for 4, has gone for 6 to make sure that this Reaper does not get any kills. So by choosing 6 over 4, that's a drone that could have been made. If he actually loses a drone to these Reapers, then obviously that's not very good either. So that's going to be crucial. He's actually sent a drone. I think, no, actually 2 Lings. 2 Zerglings to the left-hand side here are actually going up for a bit of a counter. Because obviously with 2 Reapers coming down, these 2 Zerglings maybe a bit of a nuisance. They may even get a stop, well, not a cancel, but a halt on the command center building.
Yeah, cute little move here by VortiX, as those 2 Zerglings are now on the way. He bought time for his queens back at home without losing any drones, so he can afford those 2 Lings for now.
Look at those Lings. If they get this SCV.
Yeah. Time to rise.
Yes, that was a tweet by MMA as he entered this semi-final.
Good
and
micro.
He does slow down the command center. He has slowed it down and even gets in a scout. He actually gets in the main base.
Oh, very nicely done there. And MMA is already adding on that starport very quickly.
And sees the starport. It's a great scout there. We saw this yesterday by MMA, who wanted to go over to Banshees really fast, and that's a good scout there. That means that this is definitely possible again here. Could be a Medivac, of course. Second gas thrown down by MMA, so he's not rushing towards the 3rd command center at this point. good scout by VortiX.
If we see it straight over to the Banshee, though, I mean, this is this clear indication that he was just a little bit kind of scared as to what VortiX might be up to in terms of aggression.
But he hasn't got a tech lab down on the barracks, and so if he
Well,
adds
it's
it
been
onto the
spotted,
starport, it's really, really slow here. So it should be, well, I was going to say should be a Medivac, but it's actually going to be a Viking here to begin with.
Start clearing out those overlords, not too bad an option. And the third base has been taken for VortiX, so he has gone other side of the spectrum completely in terms of going for aggression. And he's going to decide to just play us out a little bit more macro focus.
Yeah, and that overload inside the main base did see that, but hold on for now as 4 Zerglings do come to the natural, looking for an SCV kill or 2, but find nothing apart from Hellions and a bit of a red flame.
Yeah, get roasted up, and well, that overlord did end up dying to the Marine. So VortiX, you know, there was always the idea of that overlord dying in the back of his mind anyway, prepared the supply to not get supply blocked during all of that, and 8 Lings in production.
Yeah, 10 Lings here. Hellions are starting to make their way out, as we can see them coming down this right-hand side, so he doesn't want to take damage here, ideally. So it is kind of cutting it close to the Hellion production. I mean, to the Hellions coming up here to the Ling production. But one thing to note is MMA has skipped his 3rd command center for a 2nd barracks for now. Has Stim being researched and Medivac starting already? He's actually dedicating a lot of resources to his units here over his economy. Nice one of the 2 creep tumors getting stopped.
Plus, there's the cancellation on the other one, just so, well, VortiX can eventually spread that in a second, so it doesn't deny that fully. But the 1-1 already being on the way here with the double evolution chambers is going to set VortiX up nicely going into the later stages. But MMA has already seen the double evos, so he knows what he's playing against right now.
Yeah, he knows what he's playing against, but like we mentioned before, this is a bit of a different style coming out from MMA, who is producing a lot of units and is going to rely on his control here and hopefully rely on eliminating a bit of creep here. Obviously, creep's going to help out VortiX quite a bit. As MMA is going to start to come out with an attack soon, Stim is not too far away from finishing. Medivacs are on the way here. The Bailey Nest has started back at home for VortiX. There's the 3rd command center, so it's not like completely forgotten. It is only 2 barracks after all. The engineering base will follow this eventually, but for the time being, there is an army that MMA is building which could deal damage to VortiX if he's not careful.
Very strong army amassing here, you're right.
And look at that, MMA has cleared the pathway, the Zergling, try to get to the Zelnaga Tower, the drops are going towards the main. Vikings cleaned up overlords around the map as well.
That was all that Viking was to do, so this plan has been in MMA's mind for a long time here, and this could really catch him off guard. There's a few Zerglings there. Oh, but it's out of vision.
Stim's not quite ready. It's actually ready in 3 seconds. A perfectly well executed push here for MMA. Just wait a couple of seconds. Stim is now ready, and he goes in as Stim completes, and he says, surprise, surprise, the Billions are getting morphed in the wrong area. A Widow Mine to the ramp as well. And MMA, what a beautiful move, and then Hellions to the 3rd as well.
Oh, wow, what a play here from MMA in game number 1, doing a lot of damage at this 3rd base and doing a lot of damage at the main as well. That Widowmine zoning out so perfectly. A lot of those units were not able to get up for a long time. Banelings do kill off the Hellions, but it was 14 workers.
14 workers and a lot of units produced there. A very, very nice move from MMA, and that really did catch his opponent off guard. VortiX was not ready for that, and behind this, the double engineering base are down. The 3 barracks after the 3rd command center are coming down as well, and that really was a stellar move coming out from MMA.
Spire now goes down for VortiX. No gas is being claimed on his 3rd just yet, but looks like MMA is back for a little bit more. And, well, the units are well positioned this time to deny a lone Marine and a lone Marauder drop, so... And they move out of the way.
So VortiX has taken damage, right? He's still low in supply, and he's going to lose even just another single drone there. Every little bit counts. But he does have a significant upgrade advantage in this game. MMA, the attack technically is not over. I mean, the big one was, but there's still harassment going on. There's still Medivacs around. So he's always going to be able to slow his opponent down. But we just need to keep that in mind, that VortiX does have better upgrades and will potentially be trading so much more efficiently when the 2-2s complete against any army that MMA has current.
Grabbing himself centrifugal hooks here. There is that other drop over to the right-hand side. And there is a Widow Mine in the army. Spore Crawler's there, but once again, the Widow Mine's positioning itself to try and zone out some of these units. Split up of those Zerglings, soak up that Widow Mine. Zerglings will run on in, kill off the Widow Mine, and a good defense.
Yeah, just small moves, because meanwhile, he's keeping his opponent back, pinned back by drops, while he's expanding and getting his bunker down and maybe a few supply depots.
It's good.
But now we do have the Mutalisk on the way. Turrets have not been constructed yet. MMA has not scouted the Spire, so he doesn't know its exact timing. once you deal damage to your opponent, such as 13 or odd kills, because he doesn't know exactly how many he's got, he doesn't know exactly how far ahead or behind, well, not behind, but how far ahead he is. So that could be something which could actually hurt him here if he doesn't have defense against the Mutalisks.
Zerglings run in and we'll push that away for a second, but he cleaned up a little bit of creep, so that denies the momentum forwards to that third base.
This movement out here by MMA is rather strong, to be honest. There's only 3 or 4 Banelings out at the moment with a couple more on the way.
Certainly needs more.
2-2's not quite done yet, so it is 1-1 versus 1-1 at this time being. The drop inside the main base is keeping VortiX away from really defending and being in the right positions all the time.
Yeah, Centrifugal Hooks does finish up for these Banelings just as this engagement actually occurs, and the Banelings start pursuing this, but that's really very good control there by MMA.
Yeah, to be honest, he might scan that just to get rid of the quick tumors too. Good play here by MMA, and he dances on the edge of creep there, keeping his opponent back away from a 4th base. Ideally, he's actually going to find it on the left-hand side, and that should be a cancel right as it's near completion as well. And that's a little bit sorry there. Can he defend it? Not too sure.
Zerglings may end up flooding in. He leaves the Marauders at the front. He knows that the Zerglings are poising for an attack.
Yeah, and the Mutalist on the right-hand side just missed that Medivac that gets into the main base as well. So, beautiful play here by MMA. Just really climbing up in supply. He's actually 200 supply capable. He's at 170 overall at the moment. Beautiful, beautiful.
These Widow Mines there will be able to deny his opponent from pursuing him for much longer there. Banelings will end up going down. Mutalist trying to clean up on the right-hand side, but the Marines, has so many Marines. Yeah. He needs a lot of Banelings for
this. Well, remember, it is 2-2 now, so every fight they take, it is more helpful towards VortiX having better upgrades, but the numbers are just maybe too different here.
Oh, that wasn't too bad a trade there for VortiX. He got a good Baneling connection, but at the same time, MMA's on the right-hand side as well. He's been macroing like an absolute legend. This is difficult.
VortiX is, losing the queen in the main, maybe losing the queen on the third. Actually, no, it's still there, but if he gets those medivacs, that is kind of helpful if he's able to get them. They need a boost away here, so VortiX does push this back for now. The supply difference isn't too bad.
That keeps him in this quite nicely.
And he still does have that upgrade lead at this moment, but MMA does have 2-2 on the way. 4th command center now started. More creep going to get picked off here. VortiX needs a 4th and needs to establish that 4th. He needs extra gas at this point.
Oh, that Widow Mine, that was the longest range Widow Mine of all time, but it certainly got a few kills. And because he had control of that position, he was easily able to find this 4th base and deny it again. So VortiX is against the clock here.
Yeah, this is obviously going some fights okay for VortiX, but overall he's fighting an uphill battle at this point. Every unit he picks off is getting replenished much, much faster here by MMA. And more units in the middle again. Remember, that's a lot of gas always being invested into Banelings. The Mutalist count isn't really rising very much here. And they're actually being called to duty here. Doesn't want to lose any. He doesn't lose any there, so that was nice.
I mean, he has to call them to duty, right? They have to try and do something for him. Did he kill his own medevac, man?
He's on the back foot, and there's no way to deny MMA taking a 4th base here. Somehow, some way, VortiX needs to get momentum back in his favor. Otherwise, MMA will take a 4th, and the Marines will never stop. Now the fight will not be an advantage to VortiX with upgrades. It's equal now. Efficiency's the same.
And especially since now VortiX has kept him back not only with, his unit counts, but also his gas, so that means his hive's going to be a little bit later. 3-3 could start here quickly for MMA.
This is an interesting move here, but a big Widow Mine hit there, and Marines inside the bunker. Excellent reactions from MMA. Gets to the bunker in time as well. Pushes these Mutalists back. Remember, if the Mutalists are attacking, they're not defending. So MMA is actually starting to pick up creep tumors during the middle of the map. He's going to start pushing forward and forward and forward. He's going to get the 4th.
Very, very good moves here by MMA. Really, really bringing it to his opponent in this first game. But those Marines have to split. They all picking up and getting out of there. VortiX is still trying to keep himself in this, continuing the pursuit here with those Widow Mines not doing the best of connections.
That's a good fight here by VortiX.
Yeah. He's going to chase all of this away, but there's always 11 Marines in production, always 2 Widow Mines rallying forwards, and these medevac numbers are still climbing.
Yeah, it did look like MMA forgot to get drilling claws for his Widow Mines there. That'll help out a lot, but he's starting his 3+3 attack now, and that is really a ticking bomb, to be honest. This 4th base is still alive, though, somehow, some way. Not too sure. It's only got 50 hit points left. But I'm sure that is a destination that is in mind for MMA as he continues to launch the onslaught. But the 4th command center is about to turn into a planetary. This means that the barracks, the electricity cost on those barracks is going to be high, man. Those lights are never turning off. They're just going to be building Marines all day long.
One lonely drone tries to mine out that other right-hand side, but I don't think that's going to work out too long. As MMA constantly constricting his opponent. Pokes in there, kills that. Trying to get the left-hand side base, but Banelings and Zerglings do roll on forwards.
Mule's count, I was going to say it's starting to rise, but it's only at 17. It's not high at all, and a couple get picked off there, so it drops even further. Another beautiful move here by MMA, dropping inside you know, kind of sectioning out with the Widowmine, still fighting off creep on the left, and VortiX is slowly dying. He's running out of money.
And not only during all of this time, well, hold the phone, the Banelings do move forwards, and there's still that Widowmine. That one Widowmine, it was soaked up, so that's good for him. But during all of this, he didn't have any more extra gas for even +2 weapons on his Mutalisks or anything like that, so even though the numbers are low, and they're not even that effective.
That's, if not all his Banelings there, a couple more do morph in. He's got to be very careful with the gas, limited gas. And just look at this, just wave after wave after wave.
It never stops.
Detonation after detonation. MMA is hammering into VortiX, and he's dropping so low in supply, 112. He has almost a last stand here. A couple of Banelings getting morphed in to help the ones that are already there, but MMA may have already cracked him.
If this dies, so due to the hopes of VortiX in game number 1. Those Marines, they're closing in from every angle. They're Widowmines and just doing so much damage to everything. The Mutalisks cannot do much else.
Yeah, and even without 3 upgrades here, MMA is just killing the Mutalisks, and down goes the game. GG is called, and MMA plays a very, very solid map number 1.
That was scary. Wow, MMA. It all began with that extremely well orchestrated stim drop with the Hellions. There's not much more to say on that. That was really well done by MMA.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to summarize that game in just a couple of sentences, you say MMA opened up with a beautiful move, gained an advantage, carried the advantage, won the game. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
VortiX fell behind, couldn't quite get back into it and get momentum back on his favor, which you need a very good fight for, whether it be a big Balin hit on a large clump of Marines or something along those lines. But MMA just is... I think he tweeted yesterday saying, "Is my old power back?" or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just tell you. Perhaps old power is back, ... question mark.
Sounds
Let's
like more
see
Dragon Ball
tomorrow.
Z.
Well, he's certainly proven a lot of people wrong when they say he isn't.
This is pretty impressive by MMA so far. If he's able to take this whole series, I mean, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but if he takes this whole series as in dominating fashion as that game was there, then I actually don't know what can stop MMA anymore. That's pretty strong.
Well, one of the maps that players like to veto out Zerg players here against Terran and Protoss is Akalon Waste. But we're actually loading into Akalon Waste here, so a map that may not be favorable towards VortiX, but it still plays out the same. Same goals, same initiative. Well, let's see how this works out.
All right, let's get into game number 2 to find out if VortiX can tie up the series or if MMA can continue marching on. As we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, Red Zerg, representing Mouse Sports as well as Spain. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for VortiX. And up to the top left are Blue Terran, representing Acer as well as Korea. Ladies and gents, give it up for MMA.
Beautiful macro by MMA in that game. Not just the execution on the first initial move, but his supply depots, spot on. His barracks count, excellent. His 4th command center going down. The
it never
rally of
stops.
Units. It never stops.
Yeah.
And it's a style that let's just bring the Big Daddy in here. Innovation made just a perfect setup to allow that to happen. If he does something to you where you get slowed down, you almost can't stop him. You need to play a perfect game against it. You can't allow Hellions to get in, drop to do damage. You have to play a perfect game. And that's only to keep him away from doing this rally, to keep him away from just drilling units into you. That's something which VortiX will 100% bear in mind.
Yeah.
He'll enter this series saying, all right, cutesy move, buddy. Let's see if you do that kind of same style again.
Or as VortiX, you have to go the other side of the spectrum and just do something wild and completely out there. And VortiX has been known to do that in the past, but...
I'm not feeling it, though.
No, I'm not feeling it either. I think MMA would be able to hold something wild.
MMA showed yesterday against Nurture that, well, it's holdable, these kind of attacks, right? And even though VortiX is a really good player and a really good executionist, when he goes for these types of pushes, MMA's shown that maybe he doesn't open up 3 command centers. He's not You know, these builds are usually to punish 3 command centers. MMA doesn't do that every single game. It makes it more hard, or harder, should I say, for VortiX to put exactly where MMA is going to be in the next couple of minutes.
It's very true. And now he will see the Reaper pretty quickly, so he can start to prepare himself for that, get a few Zerglings out, buy time for those Queens, and then deal with it actively. But aside from that, this is a map where, you know, if VortiX takes his 3rd base up to the north, then once again, there's still openings for MMA to do those, you know, drops on the main around the bottom left-hand corner and poke him with Hellions and do exactly the same thing he did on Belshir Vestige if he finds the opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. He takes any opportunity he can find, but he has gone in and has seen the gas. So he knows his opponent is mining gas. Doesn't know what it is for, though, and that's something that the Reapers will definitely be wanting to search out shortly, as they will, of course, in the meantime, try to look for a kill or 2.
Oh, the 2 Zerglings trying to scoot around, but this time it's not going to work out. MMA's well on top of that, and that's the small adaptation that we see from MMA from game 1 to game 2. It's like, oh, you actually sent 2 Zerglings around the map in the first game? I'll just take a little bit of a different route and intercept those.
Well, 2 Reapers altogether. MMA looks at the moment like he should be aiming towards a 3rd command center with no starport being added on yet, and no second guess.
MMA sees an opportunity here to annoy his opponent.
This is an older school style that we're seeing from him. It's basically to always retreat the Reapers to it. You can limit creep spread. I remember that, I don't know why this name pops up, and maybe someone's going to shout at me, but QXC pops to mind. They used to do this a lot. You know, it keeps your opponent away from a 3rd base. It keeps them away from creep spread down there, and it's a bunker, man. Was it after the Hellion change that all the Terrans thought that this was the way forwards? I think back in Wings of Liberty, but it was around that time, I think, and we did see people like QXE using it. But regardless of that, we do now have the Lings just going to move out here. They ideally want to stop that bunker, but that's not going to happen. Those 2 Reapers are going to be very irritating. Well, at least the drone got out, right? So the drone's going to build that hatchery. A lot of Lings are being made now, but the Hellions are here too. So this can backfire here if VortiX doesn't kill the bunker or doesn't get what he wants with the Lings he's making. Looks like he has now gone in and spotted the starport. Or not such the starport, but the tech lab so early on in the barracks, he can anticipate a follow-up of the Banshee.
Yeah. And, well, we saw how MMA is able to use those before. Interestingly, he doesn't have the gas for Cloak, nor is getting Cloak. So that's a little bit of a change up here from MMA.
Yeah, he's only on 1 gas, so it's just going to be like Hellions and a Cloakless Banshee, which means faster command center and less of a big investment.
Queens come off the line to try and deal with this, so they're not lava injecting currently, but they're going to try and
be careful, man. He's taking damage.
He's taking a lot of damage. Those Queens are very injured. And the Reapers come out realizing that, hey, you're pretty injured.
Yes, it's a nice move here by MMA.
And he's continuing with these Widow Mines. He's starting the Widow Mine production as well. So this unit composition of MMA's is so annoying to deal with as a Zerg player.
And he's going to bring in a Banshee now, and he's actually added on additional barracks and a reactor onto the starport. Nice by VortiX, though, realizing his opponent's changing things up a lot. He's actually gone in and scouted it, but for the meanwhile, these Lings miss the surround. But as mentioned, VortiX has seen everything now. Very smart play, and I'm pretty sure we'll see a Bailey Nest come into this game rather fast here, as he has realized that his opponent is playing rather aggressive from the get-go, game 1 and game 2.
The Queens are so busy at the front. Does he bring the Banshee around? No, he's going to couple it with this army. And it provides a lot of extra firepower. Goes over to the 3rd.
Very composed, though, VortiX is. He's not really messed up with his upgrades or his layer timing. Everything's still on spot.
Oh, very nice split of the Zerglings there. And transfuses on these Queens, keeping them alive against the Hellions. The Zerglings have to come in to push that away. He knows the Widow Mine has been soaked up, but a lot of Zerglings die.
Yeah, I feel like I'm watching MVP play. You know, just changing it up every game. A strategy his opponent's not prepared for while everything's going perfectly at home. And it really is, because now the double engineering base is coming in, the 3rd command centers and everything's really well. He's got a lot of units being made. The 3rd hatchery's under fire. The Hellions are denying creep. Still 1 creep tumor may have escaped here. Well,
not for long.
Yeah. MMA keeps the contain on, and this is a solid game. He actually could get a queen here, but in sacrifice of all the Hellions.
Oh, they're actually caught in between a rock and a hard place. Well, the Zerglings, very good movement there with the Zerglings to eventually kill all of those off.
But he has lost all his Hellions, but did lose 2 queens there, so interesting trade-off. The Banshee is going to not kill the 3rd.
Well, he absolutely had to break out of that, right? He wasn't being able to transition over to that 3rd that easily.
He's broken out. Finally.
That was very impressive. It's hard to keep your composure in that situation.
And now MMA is saying, well, these Reapers are useless in this game. Let's see if I can find the Bailey Nest Spire, like whatever I can see. And even a drone there at the end.
And does not get it. Oh, okay.
But one thing that VortiX will be happy about is with his Overlords and Zergling on the left-hand side, he's seen no third command center down. He can assume that it's been built, but at least he's saying, well, good, it's not actually finished yet. He did notice that his opponent was building a lot of units beforehand, so he does have the Banelings ready, right? He's morphing in 12 Banelings already because he knew that the third command center was delayed, and VortiX has established himself up a good economy again. I think that VortiX, despite how well MMA is playing, a lot of Zerg players would have crumbled in this state.
Yeah.
But he's alive and he's doing okay here.
I'm so impressed at how he has 66 drones off the back of all of this. Well, the drops are on the way, but VortiX looks far more prepared than he did last time. Centrifugal Hooks isn't done yet, but this will certainly force these units away.
Yep. And just, you know, delays the command center as well as that attack. So smart moves here by VortiX. Just every little bit he can grab to try and get fully into where he wants to be. And I'm pretty sure we'll see a fourth. Oh, actually, look, it's at the top right. Interesting location here. But yeah, he's going to take his fourth hatchery up there.
All right, so a lot of Zerglings in production here. The Mutalisk production's also begun, but he doesn't really have that much gas, as he was sealed off from his third base for quite a long time, wasn't able to take the gases there and mine from those efficiently.
I'd say one of the biggest things VortiX needs to think about to really get into his groove is creep spread, because of how long it was delayed. Remember that a Terran player will never want to fight on creep, and right now the creep is still at his base. This might be a lucky... Yeah, that's a lucky grab there by MMA. If he drops in their side the main base, hides this for now, and then stims up there and kills that base, it would be a nice move.
Certainly would be. Just drawing all of his opponent's attention to that main. Be nice.
And he might even let it complete and then drop in the main. He's definitely hiding this away from VortiX. Oh no, he's going to go now.
Okay, well, this might actually, you know, it works both ways. He could do this, then draw them from the main and go elsewhere with this drop. He's going to just clear the creep here for now.
Yeah, important, but he gets the fourth. Nice move there by MMA. Meanwhile, everything's just steamrolling ahead for him. He's got all his barracks, he's got his Widow Mines. It's kind of scary, the amount of units that are there. 1-1's completed. 2-2 not yet ready for VortiX. Army supply in favor of MMA. A solid game once again by the Korean.
It's a very, very strong army. Centrifugal Hooks is done for these Banelings, so they will roll forwards, but as always, MMA's splitting is very, very strong. He wants to clean up this creep. He drops the scan, and at the same time, the Zerglings and Banelings do roll forwards, realizing his opponent's attention might be on just the creep for that second.
And just look how well MMA's on the edge of creep. The Widow Mines are ready to go off, but here comes VortiX, and it's a pretty decent start of the fight, but there's a lot more Marines where they came from, as we can see towards the back.
Trying to reinforce Zerglings and Banelings, hunting down what they can.
He obviously would like to wait for that there. It's seconds away from finishing, but more and more gas must be spent on these Banelings. The lack of fourth base is the biggest problem for VortiX.
Yeah. The Marine positioning is always so good in these engagements. MMA with a great spread. Also the ability to retreat back to those Widow Mines as well. That one Widow Mine does go off, only getting an Overseer in the process.
MMA's trading rather well here.
He is. The Zerglings flood on forwards again here, trying to wrap around some of these Marines to catch them.
Spread MMA
It never stops. The spreading never stops.
And he's just waypointing over here, 30 Marines at a time. The Mutalisk count is low. It's only at 10. He can't really afford to build more. He's squeezed out +2 attack, but the Baneling count is low as well. But MMA now saying, all right, you're dealing okay with this so far. Let's see how well you can do if I spread some of my forces, because I've got a lot in the middle, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Let's drop 8 in the main base and then see how well you can cope with my pressure.
And he continues to just pile it on. And whilst trying to take his fourth base behind this, one Zergling spotted that. But again, all of VortiX's attention has to be in the middle. He cannot deviate. He cannot change. He's trying to take another base up to the top right. But a few units are just going to go up there for MMA, whilst he drops the main as well.
Yes, this is, again, just a suffocating move here by MMA, saying, all right, come to your main base while I push forward on the creep once again. But VortiX is handling it okay in double locations at the moment. VortiX is really being stretched out. This is probably the hardest he's had to play all season long. He's been dominating so far, making other players look like nothing. But for the first time, VortiX is facing a challenge. Those Widow Mines backfired a little bit there, but they did clean up the Banelings.
And now the armor
so
supply.
Close. I mean, just his overall game is so close, but there's just small things pushing MMA in the right direction.
It really is, and these drops are one big instrumental part of that. It does kill off a Widow Mine. That's a nice pickup there at the very front, but at the same time, those Widow Mines are just about to recover their charges, so that will make MMA's retreat a little bit easier.
There's a lot of Banelings now, so the Baneling count's starting to rise up. If he takes a very good fight here very, very soon, then this could swing in Vortix's favor, but he needs this good fight. He needs to, you know, Michael well against the Widow Mines.
During all of this, 2-2 did finish up for the Terran a little bit ago.
Oh, that's a lot of mines wasted there, and then one gets picked off.
Just splitting forwards units very, very thoroughly here is VortiX, trying to catch any charges.
Oh, those Banelings
Oh,
aren't
they're
going
not
to do
doing
anything. Oh
anything.
my god, he's so lucky that they did not die.
And still, oh, he actually cleaned up the main drop. He cleaned up with the main drop with the Mutalisks.
All right. Oh, great pick
Oh.
up there. It's almost time for VortiX to make a stand. He needs to mine from a fourth again.
Yeah.
MMA's kept him away. Drones are going to go up there. Right past all the Marines.
I don't think that's wise. This is desperation tactics, but the
Alright,
Mutalisks
is
can
it?
help.
He has to go soon. He needs to go. The Widow Mines are going to go off. The Marines are still left standing. That's a lot of Banelings, though. Can this be the fight he needs?
Zergling split forwards. They're soaking up a lot of that. Banelings trying to connect with what they can, but the split is perfect.
Again, just spreads his units so well. And even though the supplies are so close, that's a lot of money that VortiX had to spend on Banelings to get a good fight, and it wasn't a good fight.
The Marines trying to deal with these Mutalisks, and it looks as if a little bit of desperation there for VortiX as he stayed in with his Mutalisks for a little bit longer.
That's so close, but so far he was almost away from breaking it. MMA's fourth is now finished, still close in supplies though. The Mutalisk count is starting to rise again. It is going up to 16.
One positive.
To 18.
There's a positive for VortiX in that he is getting rid of Widow Mines, so he's never on a really high Widow Mine count. He's only at 5, adding on an extra 2, but that's there's still a lot against him.
But for now, VortiX is pushed out. He's got the Mulus. He's going to be able to pick off that turret. No response from MMA there. Great move by VortiX. But of course, MMA at the same time is coming up here. If VortiX can keep the pressure on and kill SCVs while defending his 4.
It's going to be difficult, though. That's a lot of Marines.
Come back,
the
come back, come back.
Banelings. Oh, they actually get a good connection there at the beginning.
Yeah, okay, that worked out.
Not too bad. The Mutalisks here also killing off some reinforcements as well. VortiX needs more Zerglings and Banelings up there to try and defend. +3 weapons is on the way. VortiX. Oh! Not good.
That wasn't the best, no.
Nope. Drop in the main as well.
Yeah, Queens, but he is killing a lot of SCVs on this third base. And he is defending his 4th, so right now VortiX has taken a supply lead. He's keeping toe-to-toe with MMA, and VortiX, as mentioned before, is being pushed to his limits. And to be honest, he's not breaking yet. He's not breaking. He's still going strong in this game. And the Mulus count, the army supply in favor of VortiX. But of course, there is a 4th base down, but SCV count was dropped from about 70 to 52. Mule count is still high.
God,
But VortiX
so
has a supply lead. He's starting to get that momentum back, which every Zerg player wants and needs.
There's a slight slip here in MMA's macro. He has a lot of barracks that aren't being able to produce just yet because he doesn't have the income. He has a lot of SCVs in his main base that haven't been transferred anywhere else, and they're all on one patch. So he needs to just get that going a little bit, because look at this. VortiX taking that supply advantage, but 3-3 being on the way for MMA. It's a very, very big deal. Those Marines are going to be so strong.
Finally, VortiX has 4 bases. He's actually able to build Mulus and Banelings at the same time for once. And he's got a lot of them too. But as you said, the next part of the game where it gets difficult is the 3-3. But for the time being, you know, this is great for VortiX. He's finally got his 4th up. He doesn't want to lose it. He's looking to move around to the 4th with his Mulus, but there's a turret and there are a lot of Marines.
Yeah, he's going to have to retreat out of
But
there
at the
pretty
top
quick.
right, looks like, well, bottom right, top right, everywhere.
This series isn't only testing our players, it's also testing Funker, our observer. It's been all over the place right now, but there we go. Marines doing a little bit of damage in the natural. Will kill a queen if they're lucky. But they're going to get some other stuff.
Yeah, some other stuff here for sure, but VortiX does not want to tech up at the moment, or at least he's showing us that he doesn't want to. He just wants to increase his Mulus count. Currently now at 21 with 5 more on the way. He's starting to climb up nicely. But even though he's getting into a comfortable position with his unit count, and I'm sure we will see the Infestation Pit soon enough, unless he tries to go for 1 kill, a big move, which actually could be happening with 10 more Banelings getting morphed in.
Well, +3 weapons just finished up for MMA. That's going to give him a nice position. One Widow Mine hit every single Mutalisk. They're already weakened going into the fight just from one Widow Mine alone.
There's no mines!
Uh-oh. No mines. That's a lot of Banelings. A lot of Banelings. He needs to split perfectly here to actually deal with that. And he does get a great split off once again.
It is difficult to fight off creep, let's just say that there. And all of a sudden that momentum, I think that VortiX has established over the last little bit, is now gone.
3 missile turrets. Not going to hold on for too long here at this 3rd base. Drops a lot of these units off as well. With
2
the
mines! They came from a medivac, by the way, if nobody noticed that.
They did a really good retreat there from MMA. Meanwhile, Banelings not going to do too much. Nothing.
A couple of massive momentum hits there for MMA as he pushes up towards this base.
And these Marines doing quite a lot. Not the best split there, though. Not the best split from MMA, as VortiX will take full advantage of that. The Mutalists trying to do some damage over that third base as well.
+3 attack is now done, and armor soon to be as well.
Yeah. VortiX has killed 25 workers with this Mutalisk harassment in the end, but still, with 49 workers and mules across those bases, MMA's economy is still going to hold.
MMA spiking up to about 400 APM there, as you can see at the bottom of the screen during some of those drops and fights.
Catching a few reinforcements in the middle of the map, and VortiX will pull away. He's doing all right in his Mutalisk. It's going to be at 25-ish or so in a bit. The Harvesters...
Well, as they say, the show must go on, as this game is continuing forwards and forwards. But now MMA does have an advantage in the fights. 3-3 versus 2-2. He's got his Widow Mines back up. He has got a supply lead. VortiX is running out of money now. Likewise is MMA, though. Does not have any money in his main or natural at this point.
Mutas finding another hole, killing off the missile turrets and trying to do much, but nope. MMA, he bought the time with the missile turrets alone.
Double drops here. Undefended 4th, potentially undefended 5th as well.
Good drops. There's no units to deal with that. Every single drone lost at this point for VortiX is a bit of a blow. As we even have that drop to the left-hand side as well. He's going to get the cancellation on that. Wow.
I really think this has been such an equal game, but again, you know, there's been swings depending on, you know, who's doing well and who's not, and I have to say that MMA is starting to get that back in his favor. Look at the supply difference, and he's pushing up towards his 4th. And he's going to get a very good position. Remember, there's no creep spread up here. There's a lot of mines. They're going to get there before VortiX is ready, so he's going to be able to spread his mines out nice and thin, excuse me.
Yeah.
That's
Perfect
nice.
position.
Yeah, they are really good. Oh, my God,
he has 17 Widow Mines on the field.
So many mines. And VortiX just hasn't found the room to tech up in this game towards Ultros at all.
Yeah, he's been complete. Losing so many Banelings. And the Mutalisks, they did kill further some of their soul turret.
Even more Banelings getting picked off. A couple of mines do go down there, but there's so many of them.
You can't walk through that.
It's an ultimate minefield here.
You cannot walk through that.
And then the 5th base is getting picked off. MMA's defending his 4th with Marines. I think MMA may have him in submission here.
Yeah.
A beautiful setup here from MMA, stopping the 5th, killing the 4th, defending his own. And what a game here from VortiX and MMA. Both players playing so well, but these mines are almost ready to go again.
Not only, I mean, this has been, it's brutal to see every one of these Widow Mines connect, because VortiX, it's a testament to how resilient he is, be it lasting this long, but MMA, he's known for TVZ for good reason.
And look at this here. Look, he's brought down the 4th, and this looks like it may be the end of VortiX. Picks up those units, the mines go absolutely berserk. And the Mules are going to come in and fight here, but look at how many Marines are on the mini-map coming from behind here. VortiX is going to get a lot of damage done, but there's a lot of Marines, and without Banelings here... Oh, there's a mine there too. Oh, cheeky!
Oh, GG though. GG. MMA takes game number 2, and I say it, we say it quite a lot, because it's one of those kind of caster quibs or whatever, but VortiX has the biggest mountain to climb of 3 games against a player like MMA in this matchup. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's I mean, what a series. I mean, it's 2-0 for MMA, but what a good game that was there.
Yeah.
Really good high-level play from both of these players. Looks like MMA is getting a bunch of words of advice from Sella, who is here helping him out a little bit. And I think that all he would have to say, to be honest, I think I could do Sella's job. Good job, buddy. You're killing it. Keep going. That's all I'd say to MMA at this point. And now VortiX needs to win 3 games in a row against a player who's playing, you know, to the same level maybe that we used to know him for. And to be honest, I think he definitely is at this point. StarCraft 2, back when MMA was playing, was a little bit easier than it is now. And he's playing absolutely marvelous. This weekend for MMA has been fantastic. You know, include the round of 16 with a group of Duck Duck Titan and Starbuck, and then coming in, defeating Nurcho 3-0, 2-0 versus VortiX, the 2 best Zerg players in Europe. MMA's just swatting aside.
Exactly. I was about to ask you, Sean, what do you do against a player like MMA? But there's not really a whole lot other than play a perfect game. I mean, what can you do?
To be honest, VortiX is playing some amazing
he
game.
is.
Like, so many Zerg players just outright die to the level of terror that we're seeing from MMA here. They just outright die. And there's only some players out there that can hang on, like VortiX just did, and survive until a lot longer in the game.
Yeah, it's
and he's doing it so collectively, which is the most impressive thing, I think. He's not panicking. He's getting his upgrades, he's getting his layer, he's not wasting units, he's controlling everything just as well as MMA is for the majority of it. And you have to commend VortiX on how well he's playing despite the score being 0-2.
If he'd had his somehow, some way sneaked out Infestation Pit Hive and 3-3 to combat his opponent's 3-3 somehow, then maybe he could have kept holding on. But once that 3-3 kicks in, it's a downward spiral for the Zerg. It's so hard to contend with.
All right, well, pressure is up now as VortiX must battle in game number 3 here against MMA. Is it going to be a 3-0, or does VortiX change its destiny?
Its destiny. We shall see. Now, going on to game number 3, spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner. The last non-Korean in the top 4. He might not remain for much longer. Give it up for Mao's VortiX. And up to the top left. Representing Acer as well as Korea. Looking amazing so far. Give it up for Acer MMA. I still want him to grow that mustache out. One day.
One day, mate. One day, maybe. All right, so let's see if we can find any small differences that, you know, some of these players may change to maybe aid in having a better start in the early to mid game. As it looks like MMA is just going to open up the same as game 1 and 2, going into game 3 here for the Reaper expand most likely. But this is Frost. It's a bigger map, 4-player map, and I mean, to be honest, in these positions, the 4th base becomes a bit of an interesting topic to really think about for VortiX, because his standard 4th base is actually one that's kind of top right away from. Oh wait. Okay, he's just drone scanning. I was like, wait a minute, where are you going? So his natural 4th base, or the one he's meant to take in the majority of games here, is actually to the north of his natural.
Exactly.
But that's not really going to be how he wants to play this out, considering MMA's at the north, because MMA is going to filter his forces south. So his 4th base would be in a contested area for the majority of the game, but if he takes his 4th base somewhere else...
So prone to drops.
It's difficult to the bottom right-hand side unless he surrounds it with spines or something and static defense. It's something just to think about for the later stages, though.
It's exactly what we talked about in the previous TVZs we had, and how hard these spawning positionings can be. But anyway, we'll see now.
VortiX did sacrifice just a little bit of economy here to make sure he wasn't getting 2 racks. By the way, a lot of Terran players just throw it in the middle and then just guess on which way you're going to go, or scout with an SCV and then 2-Rex you. So he did sacrifice a little bit of economy to make sure it just wasn't going to be a clean 3-0 sweep with 2-Rex, which we know that MMA likes to do.
He's mixed it in. He even did it against his teammate Nurchio in the past series. So very, very important here. MMA scouting around himself.
But interestingly, there's actually been no Zerglings made. There was actually drones made right before that. So the sacrifice of scouting out, he's actually kind of recovered because he decided to build drones before Lings here to get back up with his economy. But he doesn't want to lose anything here. But if he balances this out right, this actually could be a very nice move from him. He actually saves both the drones here and the Zerglings are back. So nice move there from VortiX. Small little things make the biggest differences in the game at this level.
Yeah, good stuff here so far from VortiX. Just sending those Lings out once again. 2-buy time for the Queens.
No.
Okay.
Still hasn't lost a drone.
Yep. And that Reaper certainly has to get out of there. Very, very weak indeed.
All right, a fast second gas then from MMA, by the way, in this game. There's a big, big difference with his setup. And he actually has identified that for a Zerg player in this bottom left position, it's really difficult to get an Overlord inside the main base to find out if it's going to be a Banshee, a second factory could come down from this. It could be Blue Flame Hellion, could be double Rector Hellions, could be Cloak Banshee. So there are a couple of different options here, but VortiX, most importantly, cannot really see this. He actually can't see it.
No.
There's no Zerglings that are going to run by. There's no Overlord in position. So MMA does have the liberty to throw down multiple sets of different styles here, and it's going to be the Star port, so it should be a Cloak Banshee play from this position.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting that out of MMA, especially since we saw it work so well for him against Nurchio. Oh, nice!
And why is that? Why is that nice? Because the thing is, with the double Reapers, your goal is to try and deny as much creep sped as possible. You can move out, take damage, come back in, kill a creature, and go out again if you time it nicely. And I think that MMA may have been looking towards going to get the Banshee, Club Banshee, to the third base really, really fast in this game. If he was able to deny the creep to prevent the creep getting from the natural to the third, then the Banshees could have done a lot more damage, but now creep has already started to push itself out. And that is actually going to lend rather nicely to VortiX going on to defend his third base against what we can see coming.
That was really cool focus fire there from VortiX, gotta say. And, well, the Banshee as well as Cloak is on the way, but actually, he doesn't have... Oh, he has 2 Marines to deny this, so I don't think he's going to be able to see this, no.
Yeah, that's kind of painful because he'd love to know. This could be Blue Flame Hellions. Does he need a Roach Warren? Does he need to start thinking about warring off with his queens? And he's got no idea, and it's actually kind of sucky, I suppose you could say, for VortiX, who is going to try and go in. And ideally, we would like to see if there's a second gas, barracks, Starport. All right, got the Starport Scout. Got the Starport Scout. So the 2 different styles is obviously Banshee, maybe a random Viking, but over whatever he's probably guessed now. His opponent in these positions would try to do something like Blue Flame Hellion, like a Cloak Banshee. He's guessed in the right direction with the 2 spores coming in. He knows what's coming. Good scout by VortiX.
And melee upgrades do go down for VortiX here. 2B is starting committing to that mid game, but he certainly has to survive these earlier stages as well. The creep spread's a little bit further out here for VortiX, as you know, rightly pointed out by you. The 2 Reapers, only having 1 of those alive, were not able to deny, but he has now found the 3rd. So got to deal with that.
The Banshee's going to come into the natural here and may get a single or 2 drone kills or none. As the Sport Crawler is in good position, but also so was the Banshee there, right on the edge. And at the same time, of course, MMA is pressuring that third base with his Reaper, random SCV for a little bit of healing, and those Hellions. But they may join all together very shortly, Claris. They may all join hands, sing Kumbaya, and go towards that third hatchery.
And that's a scary unit composition to deal with. That is certainly so. That 1 SCV, poor little guy trying to trail around and heal everything, and he's not having the easiest of times, but the Zerglings need to keep themselves alive. They absolutely need to get a good surround if he's willing, if he can push this away.
Yeah, he's now just saturated 2 bases properly, and he's going to start link production. I think he built more than 6 here, which he has in the production, because he really knows that this threat's kind of large. The layer's on its way, and the Baleen Nest down too. A little bit of a supply bot there from VortiX, stuck at 70. Pressure has been quite intense from MMA.
Scan did kill off 2 creep tumors, but these 2... those 2 Banshees. That's actually going to cause a lot of problems. He doesn't even have his layer morphed in just yet. There is 1 spore there, though, helping out.
Oh, he's lost a couple of queens.
Nice surround. Very nice. Will catch a lot of those units and kill them off in the end.
But the Banshees, he's killed a lot of queens here. That's Lava Rejects and Creep Spreads, which have been slowed down.
Hardly has any anti-air. This 1 queen will try and push this away. A 3rd Banshee comes along here. He could get this before Carapace finishes. Oh, dear me, he's going to get it. Oh, that's horrible for him.
Nice move by MMA, and even gets a queen for his troubles as well.
Very good play. He unfortunately can't get +1 melee as well, but +1 Carapace alone is a pretty good trade-off. Against Marines that are just dishing out very small packets of damage, or any Carapace upgrade is very worth it.
Stops a spore there. May lose a Banshee. Whoop. Nope, of course MMA doesn't lose a Banshee. Claris. Does he lose a... No. Oh, no.
How dare us. Oh, well. You know, that Spore Crawler trying to go to work and still doesn't lose Banshee.
8 workers killed. Excellent control if you look at the resources lost tab once again by MMA, dealing a lot of damage here. That Carapace upgrade's going to sting.
Yeah.
And now he's going to take his, or at least attempt to take his 3rd base. Hellion's going to get surrounded, so nice move there by VortiX, slowing this down for as long as he can, to be honest, because he's been slowed down a lot.
I think just in general, notice how in this series, VortiX never, ever, even once considered or tried big aggression. He knows it can't work against MMA. He knows he has to go into these big, long games and try and beat him completely straight up. And that is a horrible thing to have to kind of come to realization of as a Zerg player going up against MMA, who's so strong in these later stages.
There's a 3rd factory coming in. That's very different.
Ooh.
3 factories here.
1 billion Widow Mines?
Yeah, you'd say so, wouldn't you?
That would be a lot of Widow Mines. There's the armory as well for the 2-2 eventually. But now, those Mutalisks are on the way. And how is MMA going to be able to prepare for those? Normally, quite well. He hasn't seen the stop higher yet, though, so that's important to note.
Yep. And at this current point in time, there are no turrets, and it's a simple thing which MMA's just now realized he doesn't have. So these Mulists, on the way to the natural, if they go very soon, they may be distracted. Oh, what's he doing? I think he's going to let that turret complete.
I think so.
Yeah, he could have gone there. It was definitely an opportunity, but of course he didn't know.
Oh, he's going to focus it down anyway. Where's the repair all?
Okay, missed that one.
Yeah, that
could have
kind of
repaired that. So he gets pushed back anyway. He gets a couple of SCV kills there. Maybe it was something he shouldn't have been able to get there. But there's the 4th base for VortiX, by the way, to the bottom right-hand side. It's going to be an interesting contention point for MMA as the game goes on. Drop that, maybe drop the main. So it is spread rather largely out there.
And as we said at the very beginning, he's kind of forced to, he's absolutely forced to take that. You can't take the base to the north to try and, unless you feel you've got a good supply advantage and you're playing the game fully out in a good way, but there's no way here for VortiX.
All right, so the game has slowed down a little bit with its pace, considering how fast it was being played out early on. Both players have very good economy, and VortiX is trying to establish up his 4th, which is very normal as the Terran's getting his 4th base here. And these Banshees will maybe get picked off here. The Overseer's chasing them down.
Well, you got pneumatized carapace, so those Overseers, super fast.
Yep, and they will get these Banshees. So from here on out, VortiX is okay. He's just morphed in 25 Banelings. He's already got 16 Mutalisks, so he's not in bad position at all here. And with a good fight, anything is possible. Of course, anything is possible with a good fight in StarCraft. And it could be something he's aiming for. It's a lot of Banelings, 15 more additional ones.
These are the supply counts that have been the best
That's like 40, 50 Banelings he's got now.
Does he really have that many Banelings?
Oh, here he comes.
Oh, that's a lot of Banelings. That really is. The Mutalist actually going for the engagement on the right-hand side as well here. And he actually cleans up MMA pretty well.
He cleaned up everything there. With 22 Lings on the way, he's got Banelings left over, I think. He may be able to crack a hole into the economy of MMA if he gets towards his 3rd base. The Mulists pick off a medivac here. Oh, it's a lot of mines.
It is a lot of mines. He has 5 in production at any given time as well. So he's got 6 out on the field. He's going to have 11 very soon.
Woo, Funker. Getting caught up with MMA speed there, as the Winter Mine does drop itself on the natural. Marines there, and look at that Banshee contesting that 4th base, does not want to lose that. But there was, you know, I said there was a small chance, there absolutely was, but of course the Winter Mines planting themselves there on that 3rd. Chances were limited.
Yeah, they were. It would have been very, very intensive to actually try and crack that location. 2-2 now finishes for MMA very, very soon. And
yeah, remember these Zerglings are still missing a Carapace upgrade, by the way. But also the medivac count's incredibly low, as Funker does point out. Only 1 at this moment, having lost quite a few there. But no +2 Carapace, obviously going to hurt a little bit here for VortiX, who may have just completely forgot about it now. Considering that his +2 melees, then he's like, oh, I probably got my +2 Carapace, right? It should be all together. But it did get picked off earlier. It's put a bit of a disjointment into his position.
Needs a lot of Banelings to
But he's kept his 4th as well, by the way. He has kept it alive, which is important.
Hello.
What the hell's that?
Our lovely map graphic.
Yeah.
We're not on to map 4 or 5 yet, don't worry. Well, MMA now moving towards. It seems he's focusing his way down that 4th location because you know his whole game plan all series long has been deny the 4th, deny the 4th, and that's.
Well, he's got to drop on the way to deny the 4th. On the right hand side here, Mueller's got to be careful. 1 gets picked off. Wintermine on the left. 1 hit does get down. And does do a bit of damage. But here's a drop, and that hatchery's already bleeding, as we can see. It is really low, and it looks like all the forces of VortiX are going to go down to defend it. And MMA pushes forward, scanning, kill, and creep at the same time. Excellent move there by MMA.
Exactly. Having to. Oh dear.
Well, that was a lot.
Oopsies.
The drop's still alive though, but the Mueller should be able to pick it off. Wintermine not borrowed, so that's going to get picked off too.
This could be pretty good for VortiX, but again, 3-3 for MMA is now on the way again.
And the 4th command center about to be taken. And it is in the middle, which means all the units are going to be sat there anyway. That's their kind of defense point, that planetary fortress.
Unit count, 20 Widow Mines.
All right, VortiX is time to see if he can defend with his Banelings and Zerglings while moving out with his Mulis. He sees his opponent coming for him, though, so he's changed his mind. He is going to come back. Widowmine spread is great. That's a lot of Widowmines, by the way, with these 3 factories. 25 to be exact.
Yeah.
25.
It's a lot here. The Zerglings in production once again. A lot of Banelings are here. He has 33.
Nice.
Cleaning up a few Widowmines.
A drop to the natural as well by MMA. Of course, doesn't just do one thing at one time.
No, of course not. And well,
that's a lot of Widowmines.
It really is. He has to be so careful about this. He moves forwards here, and he's actually stocking up quite a few of these Widowmines. But oh, those are big hits! Big hits! VortiX loses a lot, but VortiX is going to continue the pursuit.
And the drop inside the main base here, but VortiX is pushing forward here. There's a lot of units around at this point. The Widowmine's popping out at the right time.
There's still 50 Marines alive.
Oh,
dear me. Well, those Mutalisks can't stick around here for too long. The Banelings have to retreat as well out. 40 Marines still live, so MMA has a lot of firepower.
Oh, he's going to get to the SCV line, though. That's going to be nice if he can get a couple of kills there.
Missile turrets! Okay, they did a bit of damage. Okay, +2 carapace is about to finish for VortiX, which should have happened quite a while ago, but thanks to that cancel, that's it. But again, 3-3, now about to finish for MMA, and that's where things get really ramped up.
Yeah, 20 more banelings getting morphed for VortiX. Double drop's going to pick off that fourth. And if those drops get their job done, this game becomes almost impossible with MMA taking a fourth base. VortiX has not got overlords on that right-hand side. They've all been picked off by drops already. This is a completely naked blind spot for VortiX. And he is going to take fifth base here. We'll see if those medivacs go down. He doesn't want to send them too early. He wants to keep pressure on his opponent first, get his distraction in the middle of the map, then send that drop. +3 attack is done now. So is +3 armor. 5th command center on the way. A ton of stuff here for MMA.
This amount of Widowmine production is absolutely insanely difficult to deal with, and they've constantly been getting good connections. They could get a few more if they're not careful. Yes, they do. So many banelings killed off with the great
And here
retreats of
comes
MMA.
the shotgun to oneself, because the 4th command center is about to get picked off. The 4th
hatchery.
hatchery, sorry.
Banelings do connect with a lot of this army, but they're just retreating back to more and more Marines. And can those Mutalisks deal with these Marines? Well, they could if they actually get some Baneling connections.
Well, it's a lot of units there by VortiX, but also there's still a lot of units waypointed out for MMA.
That's almost it here. VortiX losing a lot of Mutalisks, losing his hatchery, and this is going to be under threat as well very, very soon. The Mutalisks trying to do what they can. Above Widow Mines, another connection.
MMA's 150 supply to 100. If that command center dies, it's not that important, to be honest. It's 3 dying hatcheries versus 4 command centers, and that 4th one's fresh. It's got a lot of minerals on it. One Marine has got 8 drone kills down there. Up there.
He's doing all right for himself.
He's great. He's like a sniper. He's sitting on the cliff shooting down to the drone line. And MMA is now looking to win this series 3-0, and he does. Congratulations. MMA is in the final.
Who can stop MMA after such a dominating performance in that series?
Yeah. VortiX played so good. VortiX played so good, but not quite good enough to topple the form that MMA's in.
Even VortiX is looking at that saying, I did all I could. I gave it my best.
Yeah.
And oh boy, were those good games. Really impressive play by VortiX, but none of it was enough. None of it.
Too strong.
Too strong.
That's right. VortiX will still go to the Season 3 finals, of course, to represent Europe as the Zerg player here. And well, he's done well for himself. But it is all eyes on MMA, who reaches his first final in a very, very long time. I think it's been like 1.5 years since MMA, 18 months roughly, since MMA's last final. He's in one again, and to be honest, he's looking like he can win it all. Now, VortiX was a big threat to him here today, but with a 3-0, MMA's posed to win it all, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry for doubting him. Well, there you go, guys. MMA advances on to the final, and we can hear some words from the victor himself, Mr. Acer MMA.
Thank you, Claris and Apollo. I'm standing here with MMA with a clean sweep 3-0. I think that's 6-0 on the 2 days. You look absolutely stunning. You're on fire. I have a few questions for you. So, question number 1. In your TVZ, it's felt a lot like, you have a really strong start, and then the Zerg kind of hangs with you a little bit in that mid-game. And then once that parade comes out, once your multitask really starts to kind of fly, the Marines and the Widow Mines, it's just too much. So I want you to do me a favor. For all the Zerg players that are listening, do you have any advice for Zerg players on ZVT, in your opinion?
지금까지 지켜본 TVG를 봤는데 초반에 이제 피해를 주고 이제 중반까지 넘어간 다음에 이제 멀티태스킹으로 저그를 조금씩 이제 죽이는 걸 보여줬었는데 저그들한테 조언이 있다면 어떻게 해야지 이길 수 있는지.
일단 마인 대박을 안 터지는 게 가장 중요한 것 같고, 좀 뮤탈 같은 걸로 그 감시군주가 워낙 빨라져서 같이 묶어가지고 마인 점사를 잘하면은 마인 대박 안 터지고 좀 쉽게 제압하더라고요.
I think the most important thing as a Zerg is to play good against mines. So you have to always have a overseer with your Mutalisks and try to snipe those mines.
Okay, some solid advice there. My second question for you is that this sets up you versus either MC or Genius. You're going to have a TVP. We haven't seen that from you yet. How does your TVP rank? Are you confident going into this, or do you feel like maybe you're the underdog going into that match?
다음에 이제 테란 대 풀토가 나오는데 그 매첩은 지금 상태가 어떤지 기분이 어떤지 그리고 이번 다음 매치는 누가 좀 더 뭐라 해야 되지 이길 것 같은지.
일단 지금 제 상태가 토스전이 어느 정도인지는 모르겠어요. 안 한 지 너무 오래돼가지고 제가 좀 안 하면 까먹는 스타일인데 좀 남은 시간 동안 좀 토스전을 좀 해봐야 알 것 같고 지니어스 선수나 MC 선수들 중에 아무나 올라와도 상관없을 것 같아요.
Actually, it's been a quite long time since I practiced against Protoss, so I'll go immediately after this interview and practice a bit. And but I don't really care who comes up to the finals. If it's Genius, if it's MC, it doesn't matter. I'll do my best. Yeah.
And the last question I want to ask you is for you as a player. I understand that you've been living in Germany, if I'm not mistaken. No? Then that's that. No, that's the whole question. Thank you very much. No. You're living in Korea then. So let's talk a little bit about that. What is your training like in Korea? I know that you gave a shout out to the Woonjin coach. Are you staying with them? Who are you working with? I guess that's kind of my question.
한국에서 이제 숙소 생활을 하는데 어떻게 연습을 하고 뭐 저번 인터뷰에서 말했던 거는 웅진 코치가 많이 도와준다고 했었는데 대체적으로 어떻게 연습을 하는지.
일단 뭐 한국 선수들 대부분 그렇듯이 레더 게임 위주로 하면서 GSTL 있을 때는 이제 GSTL 위주로 연습하고 그리고 필요한 게임 있으면 커선 게임으로 이제 많이 하고요. 그리고 웅진 스타즈 코치님은 처음에는 이제 열정적으로 많이 가르쳐 주셨는데 지금은 좀 열심히 안 가르쳐 주더라고요.
So when I practice in Korea, I mostly play ladder games like all the other Koreans, and also do a few custom games against my teammates and Axiom. And about the Ungjin coach, he used to teach me a lot and coach me a lot, but at the moment he's too lazy.
Okay, thank you very much, MMA. He is one of your finalists, and we can't wait to see him play. So let's go over to some analysis with Grubby.
So, which of the three games did I choose to take a look at to sum up this series between MMA and VortiX? I've asked Game 3 to be pulled up, and I just wanted to show MMA's bases. If you look at that, this, now VortiX base, and when you see all that, you suddenly realize that MMA is unbeatable. That was the analysis. No, I do have something a little bit more to say than that. But it comes down to that, doesn't it? Kind of. It seems just like when Widowmines and Marines was first a new strategy, Zergs didn't really know how to do with it. They just ran in all their units, lost them all easily, and so on. But MMA didn't just rely on that, because Zergs have evolved. They became better at just countering only frontal Widowmine pressure. So MMA added 10, 15 new layers of aggression, trying to be in all the places at once. Beautiful Banshee control in the beginning of this map. But I also think in map 1, he opened up with a double medivac drop with Stim. It's pretty unusual in TVZ. I feel like with that, he set the pace for the matchup. He set the rhythm for the matchup. He made his opponent uncomfortable. And as he just said in his interview, you need to get into the opponent's mind. You need to fight against the mind of the Zerg. And after you do that, playing all you have to do is just to play it damn near perfect. Attack everywhere at once, micro each engagement well, never make big mistakes, just play so freaking good and solid that it does almost seem like he's unbeatable. So very little smart little tricks and analysis to say here. He just played really, really good, and he looked indomitable. I had the same feeling when I practiced against him a week ago, very ugly, very, very strong. So I'm not surprised to see him in the finals. Great performance by him. VortiX, he could have been in the finals. Very strong play. He did practice a lot of ZVP, of course, and he got MMA. And it was just unfortunate for him to walk into this wall right here. So that was my short and slightly unserious analysis because MMA is just that strong. And well, the only thing that we will see is whether MMA will go up against Genius or MC. I think it's going to be a really, really tough match for anyone who comes up against MMA and gets a sample of his strength. He does look like he's the favorite for this tournament.
All right, thank you, Grubby. So we're sitting here immersed in some awesome people, and we're gonna check in with the social media, that kind of a thing. But let's get to know these casters a little bit. You know, if there's anything I can say about StarCraft 2, we don't get enough of the casters. You know, I really feel like that's, I don't know what they like, what they're dressed as. I don't hear enough about them. So Apollo, how has your experience been so far?
I've been really enjoying my day, but more importantly, it's your first time in Cologne. It's
It's you. Yeah, go ahead. More about you.
More about me. Well, you can follow me on Twitter, first of all, ApolloSC2.
At Liquid Red.
And at EG in Control. That's my secondary account. It's usually where I just mess around and troll and get into trouble and drama and stuff like that. That's actually a really good account to follow.
No, just keep going. Yeah, we're going to leave you on an island.
Okay, cool. All right, well, let's talk more about me.
But as far as the social media is concerned, ladies and gentlemen, make sure and hashtag that WCS, follow ESL TV. We're still doing that fan art competition. I know that we've actually got some pretty cool submissions, and if you send a nice one in hashtag, sometimes StarCraft retweets it as well. So it's kind of a cool way to get your name out there, get your art appreciated. So
They're watching.
That'd be nice. It's gotten really quiet. Are you guys having a good time as well? Yeah? You guys have been awesome all weekend long. I got in a little bit of autopilot, usually when I host in front of like a live audience like we have here, but I was over there doing the interview and I'm like, let's give it up for this guy. And this always happens to me. They're probably clapping over here, but it's not mic'd at all. So I'm just like, I do that every time. Anyways, I know you have some words from the sponsor.
I do indeed. We have our lovely sponsor, Roccat, joining on for Season 3, guys. So make sure you go over to facebook.com/Roccat and participate in the competition.
Excuse me, someone in the audience. How do you pronounce that? Rocket?
ROCCAT. You pronounce it what?
Let's have this debate right now.
Am I going to know?
I'll have you know he's British. Yeah.
Really cheesy rocket adverts, and they always say rocket is cool.
See, this guy knows his adverts.
That, I think you'll find. Sorry.
So the short end of it is?
Yeah. You can win a keyboard. Awesome.
Come on, Colaris, set the rules.
I'm gone. You have to post. You have to post who you think is going to be the winner. It's been narrowed down quite a bit, so maybe you have a good chance of actually winning. If you just leave a post, and then you can win a keyboard signed by Demaga. There you go.
Thank you, Colaris. All right. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, but we're going to go take a call with a Barcraft, actually, and it's from Una, Germany. And I know I'm not pronouncing... Did you just say Germany? I said that part correctly. Yes, thank you. So, to give you guys an idea of what a Barcraft is, it's when a lot of really cool people get drunk while watching StarCraft, which is actually amazing.
Normally. Yeah, but we're also drinking.
Can you hear me, Una, Germany?
Yeah, we are hearing you pretty good.
That was an incredibly mild-tempered response. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? Are you having a good time over there?
Yeah, we have a really good time, or not? Huh?
Yeah!
That's my players here.
All right, well, you guys are awesome, and thank you so much for just checking in with you guys. I know there's a lot of Barcrafts going on, but little special events like this celebrating the awesome thing that is StarCraft and the WCS Season 3 EU Finals. We're pretty on board with that. Thank you guys so much. Big shout out to all of you guys. Have 10 drinks on me, actually. 10 drinks.
And more. Really?
10 drinks in my name. All of you. Each
Yeah.
Only if you're legal.
We are
though.
drinking
But
some
everyone's
health
legal here.
potions
All right.
now.
Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. And for you guys at home, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we've got MC versus Genius in a PvP that you don't want to miss. We're going to determine who the finalists will be to take on MMA and see who that champion's going to be. So guys, we'll be right back. See you soon.
Hello people, I'm Dimaga. I want to show you new cool features for Rocket Rise MK Pro mechanical keyboard. It's called per key illumination. You can switch on or switch off lights per every button on keyboard. Also, you can disable any button on keyboard as well. For myself, as a pro gamer, I disable all macros for gaming StarCraft.